opera was originally written for 2 pianos and a little bit different voicing, and a lot more of it used to be in Russian. Dana was kind enough to do a huge rewrite for us, a huge revision, so that we could perform it, and so that each of the roles really fit everyone in our cast like a glove, which has been such a cool experience, and we're very, very grateful. Eliza. Eliza, with this production, is making their lowbrow opera directing debut. I'm just going to go ahead and say we would be very happy to have you come back and direct more things in the future. On maybe a more personal note, acting as Eliza's assistant director throughout this process has been wonderful and just really an incredible learning experience for me personally. And I've also sung in a cast for Eliza, so I can say from kind of both sides that you're just really wonderful to work with. She has such a calm demeanor and this really easy way of leading a rehearsal, and then everything still happens. Yeah. So I can say with certainty that Eliza is a joy to work with and a joy to sing for. Skipping through my notes, I already said those things. They're also a very accomplished singer and performer. She's enjoyed performing in many operas, concerts, recitals, a cappella ensembles, choruses throughout the Pacific Northwest, and the Midwest, and the Southwest, and Germany, and France, and the UK. More recent performances of theirs include Gretel in Hansel and Gretel with Northwest Opera in Schools, Parthenis, in Real Housewives of Sparta with Seattle Modern Opera Company, Prima Cercatrice in Suor Angelica with Puget Sound Concert Opera, the Erste Knabe in the Magic Flute with Opera Classica Europa, and also covered Baby Doe in the Ballad of Baby Doe with Opera Fort Collins. Recent concert engagements include Queer Voices with Seattle Art Song Society, Charpentier's Deum with Seattle Baroque Orchestra, and Michel Edwards' Symphony No. 4 with Octava Chamber Orchestra. She's also soprano section leader at Epiphany Parish and a member of the Seattle Opera Chorus. Having appeared in Nabucco, Le Pêcheur de Perles, Die Fliegende Holländer, and Aida with Seattle Opera. She's also a member of the Mägi Ensemble and performed with them alongside renowned a cappella group Latvian Voices at Benaroya Hall in their 2020 season. On behalf of Lowbrow, Eliza, thank you.
Yes.
So these are the people. I know that was all very intimidating. I'm intimidated. Fire away. If anyone has any questions about the production or either of these wonderful people's careers, go for it.
Dana,
Yes. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. What led to the composition of this opera? Did you have this idea, or did someone ask you to compose?
So this was actually my senior thesis in college, and I attended Amherst College. I got my Bachelor of Arts in Music and Russian, and I knew I always wanted to write a Russian opera and combine those interests. I studied abroad in Russia just for 5 weeks, but really wanted to pursue a project like this, and so this story really spoke to me. I'm not sure if anyone here has read the story, but it's very short. It's about 21 pages, and so it felt right for a one-act opera, and I think it had that perfect balance of comedy and drama and tragedy and all the good stuff that opera is all about. And so I went ahead with this as my senior thesis. I wrote the libretto, which was based on the original short story by Nikolai Gogol. And it premiered at Amherst College in 2012. The process was a mess. There were cafeteria plates in my room, and I didn't shower for a while. was just all over the place writing it, but I'm so glad that it came to life, and now almost 10 years later, it's come to life here.
Oh, well, I was just wondering, you've had so much experience on the East Coast, and now you're on the West Coast. How does it feel?
I am never leaving the sunshine ever again. I love California, and it's, I think my work really takes me everywhere, so I spend, I have performances throughout the country, very fortunate to have that, and so I really do get to travel a lot of different places, and I've loved living on the West Coast. I've loved the East Coast. I'm originally from Chicago, so it's been exciting to travel to different places, and every city, every location brings something new and new inspiration. So I love it.
More questions?
Yes. How's it overall life with you, or different kind overall?
Well, I can answer that. You can also answer that if you like. We put out a call, literally just on Facebook, for any new compositions or people we should reach out to. We kind of just crowdsourced it. Dana dropped a different opera into my inbox, which didn't seem like quite exactly what was going to fit in our season. I really, really loved the music and your compositional styles. It's like, do you have anything else? Because I don't know if we're going to be doing this one really anytime soon. So is there anything else? And the answer was yes, and here you all are. It just fit perfectly in what we wanted this season to be about for our company, and because you were willing to rewrite it for just the one piano, it was within our logistic budget feasibility as well. So it worked out perfectly.
I also got very lucky. Somebody actually tagged me on Facebook on that posting, and so I otherwise may not have come across that opportunity. So as much as I think I don't enjoy social media, it's sort of a necessary evil in the industry.
I agree. Yes, go ahead.
So as a psychologist, I followed how the autistic community really had some negative feedback about listening to the dog in the nighttime. And I'm wondering if you have gotten either of you gotten any feedback from people in the mental health community. I'm not sure what they want.
That's a very good question. I'd agree with you.
We did partner with Ellen Sachs, Dr. Ellen Sachs at the Sachs Institute. She gave us so many amazing ideas and thoughts. We had a meeting with her via Zoom, or maybe Google Meet, about 2 months ago. I actually remember that because I hadn't finished fully deciding how everything was going to unfold staging-wise. It was really important that we talk to people with schizophrenia if at all possible, and I don't remember what the series of events was that transpired, but somehow somebody on the lowbrow team got in touch with Ellen, and she offered to speak with us. And I looked up all her stuff on YouTube. Dana had already read her book. I read her book cover to cover. I've seen excerpts of it before. But I did not stage scene 5. I made the choice not to stage it until we had the meeting with Ellen, because I really wanted to, it just felt like I didn't want to leave that part of everything out. I didn't want to come to the meeting having everything staged. I wanted to be able to add some of what she was saying and some of what her book is called The Center Cannot Hold, My Journey into Madness. It's amazing. I would highly recommend it for anybody interested in learning more. Some of us are people who are members of the community that is dealing with mental illness. I'm one of those people. So there's a lot that we can draw from and relate to in the text already and in the story, but or at least I can. But talking with somebody with schizophrenia who's lived with it and really believes in the ability of people to live full, productive lives while experiencing schizophrenia was really powerful. And after speaking with her, everything else sort of made sense with the staging and with this group of people. So yeah, this was a whole process of a lot of research, a lot of talking with people, a lot of looking up YouTube videos of people speaking about their experiences. In that way, it was a really incredible journey. In other ways, it was incredible, but that's not typical. You don't always get to experience that on a directing project or a singing project.
And the ending is very reflective of Ellen's experience of being restrained involuntarily, of being treated involuntarily. And so I saw the staging, saw the production for the first time last night, and was really taken by how much that was reflective of her own experience and kind of trying to honor the story that she tells and modern approaches to treatment of mental illness, which are not always successful.
Yes.
This was wonderful work and production at the beginning, very powerful. I have a couple questions. One is about the period of the piece, because at first I thought you were setting it in period in the 19th century, but then I saw the movies, walkie-talkies, and it was, seemed contemporary. So I was curious, were you wanting it to be both times, or just contemporary? Then my other question was about the final scene, the people in it, and I don't know if we just didn't get all the libretto didn't come up on our phones, or if it actually just ends with this monologue, because it didn't have what happened after that. But I was curious, are the people in the asylum, is that really Sophie, or is she just a janitor and he projects her as Sophie? So I was kind of curious about that.
I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, projection,
His mom too, right?
Yeah, this was...
Was it just the convenience of doubling up cast, because you don't want to keep the cast small, or what else did you want?
Well, there is nothing blocked in scene 5 that has anyone in it but Devorah's role. Popushin is the only person in scene 5 vocally. But I just had a feeling the whole time that I wanted everybody to be involved, but I didn't know how. I had a couple different ideas, but nothing quite felt like it gelled. The first 4 scenes are set in 1830s Russia in St. Petersburg, but to get to know Ellen and talk to her and hear her message, which I also strongly believe in, about people can live full, productive, happy lives with mental illness, and you can manage it and sometimes experience breakthrough symptoms and deal with that, and that can be a part of life that should be seen and valued. And the ending of the original, the Gogol story, to have it set in 1830s, in an asylum in the 1830s in St. Petersburg, I just thought, I don't know if that would quite work with Ellen's message, because that was what was speaking to me and to our team. And the sort of depressing nature of the ending and the ambiguity in the story didn't seem like the message that I, as a person dealing with mental illness, want people to take from seeing a character dealing with all of this in real life. So to have a hospital situation that's set now, I thought would also help us all reflect on how much or how little things have changed. I realized early on that this work wouldn't be able to answer as many questions as it would be able to ask. And so that's clearly reflected in the questions everyone has. My hope was that, yes, success. This was on purpose. I was hoping that we would all leave this experience, myself included, wanting to know more about maybe statistics, or about right now, what would happen if somebody were carried away, and like, how does that story end? There are a lot of ways it could end depending on where you live. There are so many different experiences that people have of hospitals and hospitalization. They're so varied. So whether they should be as varied as they are is something for us to consider and wonder about and maybe do something about, like staging operas about it and writing operas about it. But it also was important to me to try to show that people who are experiencing what Ellen is describing as a fragmenting of the mind. She described it as your mind is shattered and fragmented, and there are these connections that you can make, and there's a logic that sometimes schizophrenia and people who are experiencing it are experiencing a logic and a connection that the rest of us are not seeing, but it can explain their behavior, and that's a lot of what happens with various kinds of mental illness. It makes sense in here, but to other people, you're maybe not, it just looks either random or confusing or alienating. So I thought it was important to keep the continuity of people regarding the cast. Like, is it Sophie at the end? I don't know, but if the Madman is experiencing that as Sophie approaching her, would make sense. We really tried as a whole team. I really wanted it to be important that what the Madman is doing makes sense. It's not really so mad after all. If you're suddenly seeing dogs and you think they might not really be there, that would be confusing. If you think you recognize somebody in a different setting, but they're not the person you think they are, you would approach them, but other people would be alarmed. So representing the logic of this and showing how, at the same time, the other cast members are not part of that logic always. The blurring of reality and the boundaries between what's real and what's not. Those are some of the questions I wanted to pose.
May I just add something to that?
Yeah.
Because I loved how the letters for the dogs and cats, they were like operas, because then we saw, well, maybe Madman is actually just interpreting a mad reality, right? That he's not crazy, it's the world that's crazy, because the dogs and cats really are writing these letters.
Maybe, yes, exactly, thank you. Thank you.
Excellent. We probably have time for a couple more questions. Anyone? Yes? I will see if anything has showed up in the
We
live.
have a question a bit.
Go ahead, yeah.
Hi, good evening. I wanted to ask about Dana, your revision from your original concept of the score, and then what challenges you may have faced, and I made an introduction for this production.
It's a great question. So as Katie mentioned, the original version was for 2 pianos and then pretty much the same voice types as a cast, except the role of Fidel, the dog, was a soprano instead of a countertenor. And so after, I think before casting, Lowbrow had said, can you arrange this for 1 piano? And I was like, yes, please, whatever, you know. And then the group is all about accessible opera, and I think as a composer, if this group is like, we want to do your opera, can you make it for 1 piano? I'm like, yes, we do it in this space, and we want to be able to perform it as much as possible. And then we cast Viraj as Fidel, and so I arranged the part for his beautiful countertenor voice, and then ended up changing some of Mägi's part, Megan's part, because they sing together, and so some of those notes had to change, and some of the piano notes had to change. And then the original version was more it was a mix of English and Russian, but predominantly English. And so I just worked on translating some of that Russian, went back to my Russian professors a couple times, and yeah, I mean, it was a fun and exciting challenge, and I think if there's an opportunity, somebody comes to you and says, I love this piece, but ... can you? And the answer is always yes. And so it was really an honor to write it for this space, for this company, for these particular voices, and to try and make the parts fit these voices like a glove, because otherwise what's the point of live collaboration and living composers? Otherwise we just work with Mozart the whole time, and he can't change the parts. So I think that's the beauty of being able to have that live collaboration.
So well done.
Excellent. Well, thank you all so much. On behalf of Lowbrow Opera Collective, I hope we see all of you again. sooner rather than later. We have a lot more coming up. Definitely also visit Dana's website, where I'm sure you can keep up with more places you can hear her music. I know you have tons of things coming up. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.